Hi, everybody. You're listening to the Experience Point Season 2 creator commentary. We were just having a good old laugh, just a laugh together as friends. Who am I? Well, I'm Timothy J. Meyer. I'm one of the two showrunners on Experience Points. With me is the other showrunner. I'm going to gesture in a direction. I think you're below me, right? Are you below me in the thing?
I can't remember how I put it together.
Hey.
My name's
down there?
Kate Ingy. I'm the other
Hi, Kate
showrunner.
Ingy.
Hello, hi. Yes.
Great. So I don't know if you caught us last week, but we recorded some episodes for you to watch. We recorded a commentary on episodes 1 through 4. So go check those out if you haven't yet. But we're going to keep on rolling this week. We're going to do, which episodes, Kate?
5 through 8.
5, 6, 7, 8 episodes. Well, 4 episodes, but up to...
That's good math, Timothy.
Thanks, Kate. Yeah, let's get started. You want to roll right into episode 5?
Yeah, let me roll that beautiful
Friendo.
green footage.
You roll that. I used that the other day, and I was so happy that it came to me. Roll that beautiful bean footage. It was at a D&D game, I think. Someone was like rolling damage, and I just said, "Roll that beautiful bean footage." And I had a moment like, oh, sorry. Here we go.
Well, this is a puzzle, and they have to solve it.
They do have to solve it. We have about 7 minutes of them just dancing excitedly, like going.
Yeah. I left that one
I think we
intentionally
should
too
just-
long because I wanted them to then finally feel awkward and then just stop and be like, okay. Which they did do, and it was funny.
That's great. That's the end of the episode, right? Last time. I think this one might be... I don't think it's, like, the best episode of the season, but I like 5. I think 5 has a lot going on for it, a lot to recommend. It's got a couple of flashbacks. It's got splitting the party. It's got the dial in it. Like, I think it's a really solid, middle-of-the-road episode.
Yeah, it's a good gameplay episode.
For sure.
Got a good mix.
With a sign,
A lot of textures.
A lot of text, a lot of flavors. It's got a good palette. Look at these yummy split screens.
It was fun trying to come up with new stuff.
I'm glad. I'm excited for future seasons because I want to just keep pushing you and forcing you to make even weirder ones. Like, I hope by like XP season 14 they're just like insane, like David Lynchian nightmares where it like doesn't make sense.
By then we'll have an editor, but I'll just come in and be like, "This is all wrong. This is garbage."
This is not weird enough. Yeah. It'll be super inaccessible. What's happening in the actual show?
The party's split.
Oh yeah, they're debating about whether they should stay and solve this puzzle. Jordan's making an honest case. I think this is one of those interesting moments where like sort of a stopped clock thing that like, is Jordan, even though he's kind of a jerk, right here? Like, is this worth stopping and messing with this, or should they continue to follow what is actually ostensibly the plot hook, which is Wayfinder's footprints?
Real quick.
And if I don't, this is one of my favorite reads of his. Yeah.
All right.
Here we go. So let me talk about this a little bit. This was a very real thing that actually happened. Kate was there. They weren't boobs that I accidentally drew on a whiteboard, but it was the penis island we're about to see in the flashback. That did legitimately happen. And I still think about it. Cody was there.
Concio.
It does.
Steven
My
was there,
fiance
right?
was there. Steven was there too. Yeah. Penis Island is a real place that you can visit. In our previous campaign, it does exist. It's not called Penis Island, of course, but it looks like a penis. Like canonically, that's what it looks like. And yeah, like, I think everybody thought I was joking, but I just kept drawing it and didn't unironically just drew it. I don't think it looked quite this much like a penis. We really over accentuated it here.
Yeah. It was enough like a penis to be like,
Oh no, yeah.
There are 3 circles.
I remember that day was fun because like I kept drawing it and I kept getting like notes. I think from Katie Cullen in particular, who was like, no, it needs to come like down more on the cell. Like she was like very particular about like how to make it look more like a penis. And I was like, Katie, I appreciate it, but why do you have such expertise in this field?
hey man.
I feel like of the two of us, it was pretty funny. She was an authority on dick shape.
Suit yourself. More loot for me. Let's maybe split into cutscenes.
Cutscenes.
But Charlotte, you said you chose
Cutscenes.
south.
He's running away.
You see a
I'm going to.
shorter version of that symbol appears on the doors.
His little scuttle.
Yeah, that we talked about how fragile the dial is, right? Like it's very difficult for anyone to manipulate, and Eliza was a champ. I like it though. I think it's cool. Do you still have it? What happened to it?
I did for a while. It was in my car, and then I think it just did fall apart eventually by just sitting there in my car.
Right. Just baking in the Los
But I have the
Angeles heat.
screen
Yeah.
still. I have the maps that were on
Cool.
the wall from season 1.
You want some reception?
I have some of those too, actually. Yeah, I have a big folder full of crap.
I have like the big ones
that's funny.
still in my closet somewhere.
How long is
Oh, like the huge rolly ones. That's fine.
And the table
God, I
that I gotta
remember
do
drawing
something
those.
with.
the very edge of your dark vision? You can see the
Yeah.
chamber that it
We got to bring it back, I think, in a future season. I think that would be cool.
Back to you guys. What's the plan?
Clearly, there's something about these symbols that we do not know or appreciate.
This is tough too because this is one of those situations where when you're writing it, can we talk about Steven's feet for a second? He was always trying to find ways to physically annoy Alan in ways that weren't in the script, and you could see there how successful
He was
he's
very
being.
proud anytime his foot would make it into someone else's coverage.
Cat.
Yeah,
That was
uh-huh.
part of it.
Which I think is a weird thing to be proud of. Yeah, that he wanted to be barefoot, which I think was in character, but like just what a slob! Like who would routinely hang out with this guy? I mean, it implies this like continuing notion that they will have to have an intervention for him at some point.
He's
Do you know
playing
what I
too
mean?
much into character when it's not necessary. It's like, ew.
When it's not necessary, and like I don't even feel like Thorvar would do that. Like that's really gross. Like I feel like Thorvar would be like, "Oh, that's disgusting! I'm taking off my shoes, stuck on my feet, and your feet." You know what I mean? Like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it's like it doesn't look like they're very close, but his foot is extremely close to me in that shot. Like way too close.
Still walking.
Anyway, experience points. It's a tricky thing where in the first season, right, they're stumped by a door because of course they are. And in the second season, they're stumped by a door, and it becomes more of a like central piece. But it was about how do you have them be how do you not give them the tools to answer it right away, right? They can't just look at the door and be like, oh, it's this. They have to go to the other chamber and kind of see it in a new context. So you have to have a bunch of scenes of them trying things that ultimately don't work, but then also have them not seem like morons, right? It's just tricky.
Yeah.
There's some good acting in this scene too, between Vanessa and Eliza, right? If you want to talk about this, I think this was your idea to have them kind of realize what's going on before Jordan does.
Oh yeah,
right?
they're like a lot more keyed into it. And like Sam is just like paying attention and kind of like clueless, but they're like really like it's like that couple thing too where like they're very keyed into each other, so like they'll realize things the same way because they're used to each other.
Right.
So that was kind of fun. They have like a couple of other like growth moments throughout the season that I think are cool.
Yeah, and there goes Eliza, right? That like you can see her like visibly tensing at the idea, like she knows there's a trap. Like the DM's acting in a certain way, his tone of voice and the way he's going about it. That like it should be blatantly obvious, but Jordan's just like too in his own head.
And Kelsey or Eliza and I talked about this before we even started rehearsals and everything, and just like forming her character and how she wanted to be very like not controlling, but like hyper aware of all of the rules and everything, and like kind of a little socially awkward when it comes to like cues and how to play with people.
For sure.
So
Yeah.
I don't know, it was fun to like figure that out through rehearsals and then eventually on camera.
Yeah, here we have the flashback.
Yeah,
Right.
I really liked this. I thought it was fun. I think we all decided as a group that Heather's character was the one that decided to split the party, so like that was like a thing that was added in later. It was like funny.
Right. Yeah. This is also, I think, technically while Mac and Nadine are still together. I don't know if they are canonically still together in the in the show. Like, when did this? Are they like what's going on with them? We'll have to check back in. But yeah, you guys have a really good energy. As she's just like hunched forward and kind of like trying to hide a little bit. Like, oh, yeah, it's funny.
Heather's just always fun to work with, though. She's so giggly. It's great.
I like Heather. Yeah. I don't like Cody.
Look down at the glyph glowing softly under his.
I mean, like, now it feels like it's as good a time as any to air this. That Cody and I have been fighting for the past 7 years. He killed my firstborn daughter, and ever since we've just been
Well, someone had to.
an endless feud. Yeah. He did us a service. That's not true. I don't have any children.
Anymore.
I would love
Anymore.
Oh wait. Wait.
No, I
My
love
history is
marriage.
no good.
What's up?
Hey, can I roll again with advantage?
Hey, can I roll again with advantage? I love that part.
Oh
So
yeah.
fucking annoying.
Oh my god.
And the timing was
Yeah,
really
there's-
hard on that one too. He had to like.
Mhm.
It was good.
He
This might be stupid.
Jordan exemplifies like a lot of player behaviors that I don't like. Like he became this like scapegoat. Like I whispered the sins of every bad player into his ear and then sacrificed him. You know what I mean? Like he was this weird like bugaboo. I got to put all my and then he's gonna do this because I hate it. Like yeah, it was a little perverse. I feel like in writing him. But then you have to find that line where like he is that. This is why I think Steven does such a good job is he manages to portray him in a way that aggravates you.
We try again, but it would take
But he's still kind of lovable. Like you
Just
still
so innocent.
kind of want to see what he does next. Yeah, exactly. Oh, buddy. Yeah. There's this good continuity again with that beer, right?
He's great.
fuck.
Let's just only talk about Steve.
Well, he does have one of my favorite facial expressions coming up.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Oh, it's just the.
I think
No,
so.
that's in 6.
Is it in 6? Okay. I really like that moment. I
Because
don't
it's
wanna-
initiative, right? Like he crits and then she. It's like on initiative. Yeah.
Okay.
And you see the eyes.
Got it.
of the four statues, all falcon
Here come these
figures,
eyeballs,
ancient
these
Hawaiian.
lasers. This is a goal or a direction you gave me too that I liked in this scene is that like to play up the idea that Alan is almost being a little bit retributive here. Like he doesn't like add a trap, but he's kind of excited to get to use it on Jordan of all people. That he thinks splitting the party is a bad idea. He's not gonna obviously say that, but that he's like really hoping that big dumb galoot Jordan like stumbles into this, and of course he does, and that there's a little bit of sinister satisfaction in him, which I hope comes across. Hey, there's that poof,
Hey, the hamburger! She's back.
the boygy poof.
Brother.
Mm-hmm.
I hear that
You heard me.
reception. You definitely hear it. It rings throughout the dungeon.
Yeah, right. Oh, Paul's so good too. He's like leaned forward, like really hanging off of everyone's word. Like he's finally at that stage where he's like defensive and backward, like leaning back early, and then as it goes on, he starts to kind of lean forward and like get more and more invested. Like
One of
yeah,
the tricky
what a
things
good
with Paul
boy.
is reminding him that he had to like be
Twisting your
drawing
body, you managed to wrench
throughout.
yourself
Like we had to
Yeah,
find moments
that's
for him
right.
to just be sketching because
the moment your
it was hard to remember.
Mhm.
Like he's just into it.
Right.
the beams dissipate.
So
You're free. Freedom!
He did doodle though. I remember he had some
He
very
did.
silly
I
pictures
still have that
he
sheet, I think,
doodled.
somewhere.
Yeah, they're
Of his
cute. Yeah,
doodles.
they're honestly not
Yeah.
terrible. Like they're much better than anything I could do.
Traps.
And
don't split
yeah.
the
Yeah.
party.
oh, Elisa,
We're all
just so exasperated.
fortunate that trap wasn't more damaging.
Yeah.
I like this moment a lot coming up here.
Scary, but not very deadly.
Not very deadly. And how'd she die? I think is a good little. He has a good read on
Mm-hmm.
it, and I like that it it shows that Sam is paying attention where nobody else is.
Brings it back.
It is definitely.
Hmm. That's a good little moment.
Your elven guide lies.
They're cute.
crumpled
They're a
on the
cute
sand.
gaming group. I
Yeah.
mean, they were like
Blade.
they're terrible bad people, most of them, but like they're cute.
Are we gamers?
They're just a bunch of cuties.
Intelligence investigation.
Yeah, everybody rolls right. The failed investigation checks.
Natural one, -1.
Dump stats are fun though. I think especially a communal dump stat.
Well,
Int is one of those ones you can get by. Like this adventure, unfortunately, has a lot of investigation and history and stuff, but like there are worse stats for sure.
as far as you can tell.
Bad wisdom is a problem. Bad perception is a big problem.
Could have been a lot of things.
Is there a way for the sandfolk to honor the dead?
Yeah, it's not 100% clear. I think the implication is that she gets shot with one of these darts. I think is the in the next combat. Not the next combat, the combat after that when they fight the Sandfolk again. Thorvek gets shot with a dart. And he succeeds, but is still poisoned. I think the conceit is that if they fail, that it doesn't kill them probably, but it like knocks them out
Yeah.
or whatever.
Then she's taken.
She might actually still be alive right now. I think technically because they just failed their checks to examine her,
And then she disappears. So like they just take her or whatever.
and then disappears, and they cut her hand off. Yeah, exactly. So that's pretty horrible. In retrospect, one of those unintended. Great, and that's the end. That's the cliffhanger. Awesome. What was your favorite part of that episode, Kate? What would you say?
I really like when they're arguing about like legitimately what they should do there, because like you said, I think he does make some good points on. I just think that it's a moment where you realize, like, maybe he's not just being annoying to be annoying.
Right.
Like, he's actually playing his character to be like, who gives a shit? I
Right.
think that's
And
interesting.
he made an annoying character, but you can't say he's not playing that character, right? Character. Let's see, what was my favorite moment of that episode? I think I like the wheel, and I think I like them trying to puzzle it out. I think I like the opposite, right? That like they get so invested in trying to solve it that they kind of they miss the forest for the trees. They miss the actual adventure. That like the characters, and basically it's the same thing you like. The characters that are the good guys ostensibly are kind of off the right path, quote unquote. They can't solve it right now, and so you're sort of led to not trust Jordan, but Jordan ultimately is going in the right direction. Yeah, it's a good one. That's a very fun episode. Awesome. Let's watch the next one. Before we do, I want to stop because I think my audio recorder is being a little weird. So I just want to check it. So we'll be back, folks. One sec. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. I checked my audio recorder, and it's okay. It's just a little temperamental.
Just a lot of demonic mutterings.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know why that keeps happening. I think later, after we finish this, I may go and open up the blood of the lamb and bathe myself in its glory, but that's unrelated to.
Well, it is
what we're
Thursday,
doing
right?
today.
So I feel like
Oh yeah.
normally we do this on Sundays.
Sundays. It's a little bit different. Thursday is when we get a new shipment of demonic mutterings. What are we talking about? We should be talking about episode 7. Nope, episode 6, which is what we're gonna listen to right now. I was just looking forward to 7 because I like it. I like them all. Do you like them all? Okay. Okay. There's one episode she doesn't like, but she won't tell
It's
you which
one.
one it is. Oh crap. Great. So we are gonna just get started on this next episode, episode 6. This is where the shit hits the fan, proverbially speaking.
Oh, there's a time
It'd be
jump.
pretty weird if you were watching this. There is a time jump, and this is my ham-handed way to explain it. This is also partially reference to my fiance, who has like no ability to spatially understand something unless you draw a picture. So whenever we do theater of the mind, she's always like, "How big is this room?" And I'm like, "It's 30 feet. It doesn't matter. It's a large room." But I thought that was 40 feet away. How far? I'm like, Hallie, just go with it. So I kind of wanted to, of all the characters, it seemed like Kelsey was the one that needs to see them out the most of anybody.
Yeah. Gotta make it fit into our
There's a nice way-
parameters.
Then I say that's where we head.
Exactly. It's a nice way to jump a little bit and explain how far they've jumped, and then also to give you some backdrop for who wants to go.
So many moments.
What's funny there is that my intention with that line is actually the opposite, is that he's saying like, oh, so many mummies, I don't think we can fight them all. But Paul read it as like, yes, me, there's so many mummies to kill. And like, okay, that's also a fine read. There's no reason it has to be
think
the
it's
way
him just
around
trying
it.
to like appease his friend and be supportive, but also be like, I'm not gonna go with you.
Right, yeah.
I don't know how Thorbeck feels about
He's so
disturbing
disappointed.
He is a priest,
He's
after
so
all.
disappointed.
Oh, fine. You dwarf you are.
To the boring room.
We open the door and there's a billion
my God,
mummies
yes.
in there. You open the door and like.
I love the mummy jokes. Every time. Every
you're
time.
really
I
into
was
the mummy
very into the
jokes.
mummy joke. I'm still into the mummy jokes. The second time it happens,
To me, yeah.
cannot be overplayed.
To me, it was just a dumb throwaway joke, and you got so happy. That's why I put in a second one, because you liked the first
it
one
could
so
not
much.
be overplayed. The second joke could have, in my opinion, still been bigger, but like that wouldn't have worked for the majority of the world. But I just wanted that joke as big as possible.
Yeah, it's good. I like that joke.
Passive would be.
Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, the notes. Hallie's also, my fiance, is the kind of person who like had to pause it when she watched it and read what it says. I think it's something like a gigantic hand reaches. It makes sense. It's not like look at my boobs or anything. It's like, you know, it's something that he would write. I just didn't know how much we were gonna see of it.
All of it.
Yeah.
Did anyone
for
else
sure.
pause?
This is
Anyone else pause and read it?
yeah. Comment in the doobly-doo if you paused. I want to real quick talk about the D12. That's a real thing that happened to me. I had a player use a D12 for, I think, more than one session as their primary die, and didn't even have a D20. I think they owned one.
What hit your AC?
And they were just having, and it was funny too, because they were having a really bad time. They like couldn't hit anything, and they weren't successful at anything, and like they were kind of getting frustrated. They were a new D&D player. It was very much like Sam, like almost as though if we hadn't caught Sam, he would have ended up as this guy. So that was very important to me to show.
You don't know this is
That moment. You know this is happening. So
You don't know what's happening.
frustrating.
Leave me alone. There's Vaughn in the background, right? Or
Tori was
Tori.
such a good sport. I was like, I don't know, just cook some stuff. I wanted him doing dishes, but that framing didn't work. So I was like, you're gonna have to be at the stove. You have to cook stuff, but you have to be quiet about it. And then later we have to record you doing ADR of just slamming pots around. And then it
Yeah.
didn't work, so then I just had to put in some like Dave Matthews flavored like background music.
Yeah, right. Some bro music.
Yeah, 46 minutes.
I'm talking about Beats
they're
Patrol.
1 minute late.
Should you call?
And say what? Excuse me, but my pizza's a minute late?
Yeah, being very careful on how far we can open that
Yeah.
door because again, you reveal the outside world. I do think it was evening when we were recording
This one,
though,
yeah.
so like at
That would help.
least it would have been dark. Yeah.
You would see like the front entrance to the
Okay,
house
it's
instead.
15?
But
Mhm.
Standing Bashar then. You're standing there.
Uh,
Jamming the mechanism. When you hear something.
Yeah, this is another one of my little frustrations. That's a real world frustration I have with some players sometimes. Is the distinction between character knowledge and player knowledge that like Kelsey knows it's called a choker, she knows the monster, and so she just starts calling it that when like the other characters don't, and then ostensibly Bashara wouldn't necessarily know that it was a choker unless she rolled, but since Kelsey knows, why would she waste her bonus action to do that? Because your bonus action is valuable. And so it never gets like addressed really, but I really wanted to introduce that idea because it always bothers me as a dungeon master. Like play along a little bit,
especially
come on.
later when you start accidentally calling it the choker and getting frustrated about it. I think
Yeah.
that's what it is really. But-
It like infects me too.
Okay, is
yeah.
this the moment?
Bashar's at 13?
Yeah, here it is.
What? Look,
You rolled a 20
I roll a motherfucking 20.
on initiative. But
What is that face?
Well, I think he's doing like a you
No,
got
I
me
mean, I
face.
get it. I just love
I like-
it.
Mine was a 3.
I'm a big fan of motherfucking creat.
Before we
Like
start, give one action.
creat. Yeah. Is the phrasing. Oh man. It's funny because like a lot of this stuff
cool, okay.
I don't write necessarily as comedy. Like I just kind of try to write from the character, but like they find all this comedy in it. I'm like, I'm glad you guys can do that because like I'm not capable of writing people making real jokes. Like everyone is just very true to who they are and they're just bouncing off each other. They're like, I'm glad we get such talented performers because then they can make comedy where there are no comedy existed before.
I like this moment.
I'm far.
Sorry, I like this moment
ahead.
with Megan because I feel like she does a really good job of like growing her frustration and like trying to play, like being excited about this thing she's trying, and then being like, okay, this thing, and then it like roadblocked and confused, and like, what am I doing? And I don't know. I think she does a
Yeah,
really good job.
she has a lot of really good build for sure.
Yeah.
Sort of, I don't know what that would look
Because it's tricky. It's not.
Yeah.
Well,
It's the kind of thing you could easily just go straight to full frustration, but she is like, yeah, I like how you phrase it. Like she's trying to play, she's trying to go along with it,
Okay, but I don't
but
see
it just
how I
eventually
can-
breaks
well,
it,
let's
right?
maybe keep going with initiative and see what happens.
Someone made a good point in one of our previous Q and A's
Top of the
about
round.
like how much of this stuff is Alan culpable for, right? Like how much of this are the players being jerks or miscommunicating with each other, and how much of it is Alan not really asserting himself as the DM? And I would say it's honestly about 50-50. I think he has as much to blame here in this scene as anybody else. As a dungeon master, a lot of this would be your responsibility to step in.
Athletics kicks ass.
But because of the extenuating circumstances, and because of the kind of person he is, right? Like he's just not an especially assertive guy. That's true. That he ends up letting things that he like lets things go that he should have stopped and addressed or recontextualized.
Yeah.
So we by no means want to say that like Alan is perfect and all these players are totally to blame for this. Like they play their part for sure. But multiple times here, Alan could have stopped or paused or tried to reframe, and he doesn't.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he has the wherewithal.
It's like that fear of that last campaign taking over when that should have been like more of a learning experience, and it was like, oh crap, it's happening again. How do I stop it?
Perfect.
Which happens
Yeah, it's like
earlier.
he
like he
freezes.
stops it earlier, but
Right.
Second time. You
It's
hit more party
paralysis,
members than
right.
You have enemies.
oh, he had such trouble with his line.
I could have been raging.
My second
Oh, that's
favorite
right,
Sam
yeah.
reaction ever is that moment right
Uh-huh.
For posterity, anyone who
It's
wants
my
to
favorite.
Yeah.
It's so honest.
That's so
Yeah, Steven just kept cracking up during that I could have been raging line. When we were-
Yeah.
just
'Cause
got him.
It was the way he built it
Yeah.
up too. Like could have
Playing
been
that
worse,
too.
right? Like he just put so much pressure on it. I mean, it's very funny his delivery, but I understand why that would be difficult to get through. There's one coming up. I think it's in the next batch of commentaries I want to talk about. You know which one I'm talking about in the big final chase scene. He kept cracking me up. You know what it is. We'll talk about it when we get there, but that's another criminal infraction for which he shall be penalized.
It's really good.
Creature's 30 feet away.
Yeah, it's very funny.
Sure.
This is a shout out real quick to how good of a wild shape the giant toad is, inexplicably. Like, there are a couple little, like, winks I want to make in the show to, like, real D&D phenomena, like Grease being an overpowered spell in the first season. You wouldn't think it is, but it is. And the giant toad being arguably one of the best wild shape forms at a low level for a low level druid. You would assume it would be something cool like a tiger or a bear, but no, actually, it's the toad mechanically is one of the best. It can jump, it can swallow people, it can grapple them, it's a bunch of damage, it has a lot of hit points. Like, for some reason, the giant toad is bomb. And, like, I wanted Kelsey to, like, be aware of that. But it also fits inside of her character conceit that it's all these desert animals. So, like, it just felt like a really good opportunity to use the toad.
Splat against the wall and stick there.
Yeah, I
Then
love
with
it.
my
I
action,
love the
I
giant
can
toad.
fight the choker. So, toad is
And it was also important to me in writing this that, like, the argument came down to grappling. The grappling has been fraught in D&D for a long time in terms of having complicated rules. The 5th edition grappling rules are actually not that complex. In 3rd edition, they were really crazy, but I still wanted that to be like, when someone says grappling, you kind of instantly get yourself in this mindset of like, okay, shit, you got to think about who's got who and where and escaping, and is it an action or a move, and like it should be this thorny area. So this is kind of, I thought like that was a good flower bed in which to kind of grow this argument.
No, I think.
Let's talk about Kate's editing, how good it is.
Okay, so I'm free from the choker's grapple.
Oh, it's just like the split screen work and like working in the other conversation, the other argument, and the way it like builds and then narrows down.
Yeah,
I think it's
that
really
took-
good. Yeah,
Why?
I'm sure. Go ahead.
I'm just hanging
Talk
there.
about it if you want.
Well, it, like only starts here, right? It's more of.
It's getting there. Oh, you're right. Maybe we're a little early.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
true.
But yeah, I like after we filmed with that other group, I think I had to edit their scene first, and then I had to edit this scene separately, and then I had to figure out how to split screen everything in it. We also had changed some things in the script from like the other group,
Yeah.
so like some of the things didn't quite line out the right way, so we had to like shift how that worked, which was fine.
Yeah, I think part of the thing too with the flashback scene is that Amy and Tracy just really wanted to kind of go at each other, right? And so yeah, as you said, like, it wasn't even that we changed things so much as we just like let them go, and that ended up kind of destabilizing the other scenes. So I think you did a really good job of like melding the two, because I don't think you can tell at all here.
Thanks.
They just went at it. Yeah, and credit to them.
Yeah.
Like, look at how fucking high. Amy is just
Ooh,
they're on
it's
fire
scary.
right now.
The mood in the room
Yeah,
was
it was
funny.
really scary in the room. Yeah. Especially because we didn't really. I think I had met. No, man, I don't think I had met Tracy yet. I hadn't met either of them. You knew Tracy, but I didn't know Tracy, and I had never met Amy before. Well, like once or twice in passing in Beacon Century, but like never worked with her. And she came in, and she was just a firebrand, and like it was rad. It was perfect. But also the nicest person.
Yeah, everyone was
like,
lovely
super
when we
friendly.
cut. It was just poor Breeze, like
Uh-huh.
just gonna. Breeze joke, and she's
Yeah.
like, I'm just gonna play you, and I'm like, okay,
Oh,
got it,
great.
got it,
Funny.
nailed it.
Yep. Yeah, no, she's good. That stupid hair. I'm happy that you got the Halloween capital of the world.
Yeah,
I know
don't worry,
people
I
do.
snuck that in
That's
somewhere.
important.
Don't
I know,
worry.
I know you did.
No one panic.
There she goes. We were all
It's in
panicking.
there.
Yeah, I like that face a lot. I think she does a good job here. I
I
don't
don't
even.
even know.
And then I love this cut. I didn't even think about this in the script, but it goes from I don't even know, because she added that to this, right? To you don't. Yeah, it looks so intentional. And it's totally. I mean, it's you found it, but like I did not write it that way.
Also, I don't know. I think they did a good job with their fight too.
Oh, I think so too. I remember this was fun This was unusual for us because this is all handheld, right? Which is different than the way the rest of it's shot. So it's like Kate has one camera and Adam has the other camera, and they're sitting like back to back, like dueling banjos, filming both of them to try to get as much, continuity between the argument as possible, rather than doing two different takes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that was fun.
it looked crazy. It's a fun day.
Oh, the palpable awkwardness.
Man.
Poor Sam.
It was so awkward. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Stupid joke with the whiteboard. It's yeah, and then like the text comes, the like initiative word comes back up. I think it's really fun. Oh boy! Wow. Yikes. Awesome. That's episode 6. Yeah, have you guys ever had any big explosive argumentations at your table? Talk to us about it. Post in the comments below about whether or not you have. I want to hear. I have, and that was inspired by one of them. But I don't think it got quite that bad.
Yeah.
It's a little bit exaggerated. What about you, Kate? I don't know if you've experienced.
No, I haven't been in like some sort of like explosive argument. I think the closest we got was the Min the Deathless.
Oh, sure.
That wasn't a fight. That was just like an argument where we couldn't agree on it and we didn't know what to do, and it took 3 hours.
It took forever
to just talk about.
But it was in character for the most part.
So.
It wasn't like a personal attack, which I've had that. I've had players like break character and effectively attack the other person's, character, their real person, which is not great. So post in the comments. Let us know. We want to hear about your drama. Unpack your dirty laundry. We want to
name people and tag them in it. Let's get them involved.
let's air it now.
This.
This is counseling.
Let's really get more viewership. I
like the idea of doing like a Springer-esque show with D&D. Like you bring on like dysfunctional parties, and it's like my healer wouldn't heal me. Well, we have the healer right here, and then the cleric comes in. Everyone's like, boo. It's like, I had 4 spell slots. Fuck you. You could have used 3 of you. Know what I mean?
That's
like,
your job.
Like
that's your job.
Yeah. I think that's a great idea, actually. I'm really into it. Great. You want to roll on to the next episode, episode 7?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's do.
Here
Awesome.
we do.
Here we do right now. So we're coming right back in on the tension. I remember Adam, after we shot a couple takes of this, our cinematographer, who normally has a pretty low-key time during the takes themselves because he sets up the camera and just sits there, was like on his phone. It's like, guys, it's so awkward in here that like he was feeling it. The crew was like, oh, I don't like it.
And it was the end of a day too, because it was an even number. So we ended the day on that, and then we had to like just read through the next episode to like rehearse it a little bit, and it was like
to purge. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Sam is so quiet.
I think Paul really liked this bit. I think he had a lot of fun going like.
So that's
Okay.
4
dude.
plus 3, 4.
What's up?
You could really tell. Like, not that he was milking it, but like he had a
yeah.
good time, which is
Sure.
great. I'm glad. Yeah.
There's Vaughn
Yeah, you're
again.
parked
And
behind
then
him.
Vaughn poking his head in.
Do you know where your
This is a
keys are?
pickup, right? This is shot much
Yeah.
Should be
later.
on the hook.
Yep.
Not
Yeah,
there.
uh-huh.
Yeah, you
You know
are
what?
reading
Check,
his
the top
part
of the fridge.
from
Oh,
sitting
that's
next to
right,
him on the
yeah.
other side. So he kept accidentally looking at you, and then
Has disadvantage
opened
Uh-huh.
the door.
That's silly. I like Tori. What a goofball. I like how sitcom
Yeah.
he is. He's like literally like leaning into shot. It's a very Kramer entrance for sure.
Because also we couldn't open the door anymore. So it's like, and he's
yeah.
not gonna
So
step all the
it
way
served
in.
both purposes.
Ah.
Yeah, no, he's just poking his head in.
That's
Yeah.
just good.
God, what a goof.
creature. Sorry, the creature. And it
Everyone's so quiet.
yeah, it's looking pretty
I'm
hurt.
still trying to like there's the choker moment.
That
I'm
brings
still
us
trying to
down
describe
to
and still be
9 rows.
enthusiastic. I remember like it got so
Okay.
weird and so awkward that like
yeah, that's-
I was
that's
feeling
fine.
like I think in my head like as a performer
round 2
I had like
starts with,
conflated the session failing with XP's
Oh.
failings. Like there was I don't know why, but I was like it's all over. Like
Can I hit
in
you?
my head I'm telling myself these
No
things,
one
like,
wants
you
to
tried
be
in
here.
season 2.
Oh fuck.
No one wants to be here, and like this is your fault. You brought all these people together,
Yeah.
and now look at how terrible it's become. Which is completely untrue.
Yeah.
It was just like where I was in my headspace.
21 to athletics.
For me, it was a great episode at it because I just had so many wide shots, like very few split screens. Because I'm like, fuck it, everyone's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Let's just do
You're
wides.
supposed to.
Yeah, it failed.
So it's great. It's
So
very
to
easy. Write more fights into
goes
stuff.
Like I love his axe moment here when I describe it. This is my favorite. This is maybe my favorite Steven.
Comes to 11.
Coming up in a
He's compelled.
Yeah, you,
He's got to do it, but it's so
you go there
half-hearted.
And you flash it with your axe.
Wait, where is it?
He
The
like
creature
looks
is limp
to the side a
from
little.
her mouth, Bashara, and then 9 roads, you drop to the ground.
I love it. It kind of like falls back and.
He can't even like look at you when he does it too. Like,
So there are no more
I love
You're
it.
out of initiative. Your you're still seeing it in the
Yikes. There was... This is not fun to talk about. There was like a weird initiative like kerfuffle. I had written it where
Yeah, we can maybe.
I'd skipped over Nine Roads' turn when writing it because I wanted to go to Thorvik, it's your turn. When it would have been Nine Roads' turn, I think, technically, or something like that. So there was, like, on the day, this big confusion as to, like, do we change the initiative order? Do we just, like, add a line? I think we ended up adding a line.
Well, yeah, you you look at her and then she just waves it off.
She waves it off, and I'm like, okay, cool, we'll pass you. That's fine. I think that ended up making the most sense, but, yeah, there was almost a disaster.
It's also fun to realize the times that we forgot to turn that light by the fridge on and off.
Oh,
That was one of
I didn't
those
even think about
times.
that.
It's interesting.
This is that's a true like continuity thing. that
Sometimes,
we've ruined
yeah,
for people.
sometimes that lamp by the fridge we forgot to turn on.
Was it homebrew or?
That's one of them. Is it episode by episode? Do you think?
Yeah, because sometimes we tab it off for like saving power or lunch or whatever we were doing, or just beginning of the day we would just forget to turn it on. So it's not all of the time, or it'd be halfway through coverage, where like maybe we started the day with like their coverage, and then when we switched, we're like, oh crap, the light's not on.
Yeah. Oh, I always felt bad for Elisa there. Like, obviously she's playing her character, but like I personally felt like, oh no, I'm being mean to Elisa. Like, of all the people you don't want to be mean to, like, oh my gosh, what a sweetheart.
Just so hard.
She's just trying to be
She's so
friends because she
hurt.
feels bad. She feels like, yeah. Ugh.
Yeah, that's why we're doing Christmas with them.
Back in the house, yeah.
Quietly.
It's like, oh, yeah, because I think the implication is it's like set right before Christmas, right? They're kind of debating whose house do they go to.
All of the options of things we had him watching were just fun. Like,
He just looks like a vampire.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't look like a person. Like, why is he sitting so stiffly in that? He's not like snacking or on his phone.
but like
he's
that's, I
just
feel like
sitting.
that it's also like real because like having him do too much is like would be weird too if he's just like
Oh, I
laughing.
get it.
So it was like, oh, I guess
But I like that. I like that. That's what makes it
just a freak.
weirder somehow.
Also,
Oh, yep.
No.
Yeah, here it is. Here's Mac. Who's
Yeah.
that? I
Yeah.
know that face.
yeah.
Yeah, if anyone was gonna have a cameo, I wanted it to be Kate, of course. From the original
Selfishly
season.
me as well because I
Yeah.
just like being involved.
Right.
And I like showing off my
And
hair
she's like the
colors,
soul-
you know.
Yes, that's very important. She's also like sort of the soul of the like his conscience a little bit, I think,
Yeah.
on some level. Yeah, this is another one of my favorite scenes, I think. We had to shoot it a couple of times, right?
yeah.
Your car coverage.
Because
Yeah.
I'm going like 10 miles per hour on like back streets in North Hollywood, and then like there's these kids that saw us filming, so they would like try and follow the car to like be in the shot on the side,
No,
and then like
I didn't even
there's
hear
like all
that.
this-
That's
so
so
I'm trying
funny.
to like both drive and not kill Adam, who's next to me with his camera and has no seatbelt on, and then also remember lines. So I was like, I know this scene without any of these elements, but like driving, I was like, you need to just feed me the lines because I can't think about them
I
right now.
can't
There's
do
just
it.
too much
Yeah,
going on.
that's
And we had to keep flipping
definitely
around
true.
with the sun, and there's just all this stuff.
Yeah, the ones under the counter.
so. I learned my lesson about writing scenes in cars because holy shit, yeah. I just like the idea of catching Mac at like a sort of a casual moment.
Yeah.
That, like you were in between places. This wasn't like a big deal for you. You weren't like sitting waiting for his call.
Remember,
I wish I could have been like leaving work or something and then like I wish we had just more access to like bigger things and better places, but I could like
Yeah.
getting
Oh,
in
for
my
sure,
car and
yeah.
then like be driving, like legit driving without like weird guerrilla driving, or just actually been on the freeway would have been really
this
cool.
is why
Right.
that encounter sticks
Yeah.
out to me, I think.
In traffic.
Possible, really, yeah. We could have had you like get into your car and then just sit in the car,
When you
right,
saw
rather than have
things
you
were
actually
getting-
Yeah, I
start
guess.
in
But
retrospect.
the movement is
but-
cool.
You pause the game.
Your movement is cool. I agree.
You left.
But I feel like probably I passed the same houses. I haven't like checked for continuity.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's probably
I'm
there.
sure.
It's like,
if you're really assiduous and look at them, I bet it's the same like 5-6 houses. Look at that big green gate. For sure.
Didn't know about Fletch's backstory. That his
This was fun too
mom
because
was
you
a
get to shed a little bit of
missionary
light on like
and
what
he still
happened with
carried around
Nightspear.
the
Not that
civil
anything
rights
bad
of
went
that
down,
scene.
but like to talk about that. Like it almost sets up this like the first season is this almost mythological tone towards the end. Like you remember when these things happened, these ancient tales from the elder days, right? Like.
Problem?
And now everything's changed and everything's different. And looking back on that good time, and LA is this like sun-bathed place. It's this paradise, right? Like, and he's remembering it. Like, I don't know. It just ended up working out in this great way. And like, you look different. You're blonde, and it's like you know, the world has changed, but you still recognize elements from those times. Like, I don't know. It has this very Tolkien-esque, like, remember the second and first ages vibe, which is silly, but, like, I like that. I think it makes sense in the context.
Yeah.
And the beautiful palm trees in the back. Like, it couldn't be more picturesquely LA if you tried. You know?
But I also like the bathroom scene too. I like that. Like that was another thing that we filmed on the last day. So I think just as a person, you were tired and like probably feeling things because we had finished like filming and everything. So I feel like just your mood
I
in
did have
general,
some
like
feels.
even when you're listening and like remembering stuff, I just think it's
Sorry,
good.
I wasn't sensitive to it.
And I also like that we
Thanks,
don't have to
buddy.
listen to
Sorry,
their
I asked
entire
10%
apology.
easily.
We just cut it. And it's
Oh,
like
for
it's
sure.
solved.
It kind of ruins
It doesn't really matter. Yeah, like, that sounds bad, but, like, we're not really here for their relationship problems, you know? We need to see something, but we can't. I just didn't want to do it. And I was like, we're just gonna cut into the very end of it because who cares?
Cinnamon sticks, cheesy bread.
It's all happy.
And of course,
again.
Jordan's being a jerk ass on the phone.
Yeah,
I love Sam's. They haven't left. Like, it sounds like the hostage negotiation went bad and that, like, everyone's dead, right? Like, they haven't left. It was Kaiser Soze all along, right? Like, he's so serious about it. They haven't left. It's all a scam.
There's a dead Joker in
that's
the
funny.
entryway, and it's some sort of strange mechanism in the center.
Yeah, here we go. Look, everyone's excited. I love that shot of them. That's like such a stock footage, like happy people playing D&D. You expect to see it in like a healthcare commercial kind of a shot.
Sharon
Like,
Thorvald
I love
goes
it.
to investigate the
What
mechanism in the center of
cutie
the room.
pies.
What about Thorvar and Nine Rose?
Everybody's Paul's a cutie.
Imagine you've got
Steven's a
Miss
cutie.
Oh, I just don't
Bunch of
think so.
cuties.
Sorry.
Oh.
Just a
Healing
bunch
word
of
and
fucking
everyone's all I
cuties.
had.
Then we're gonna have to take a short rest.
That lamp's still off, guys. We definitely did their coverage first and forgot to turn it on after lunch. That's what
Yeah.
happened.
Does it? I hope it doesn't turn back on in the middle of the. It shouldn't turn on in the middle of the episode, right? That'd be crazy. If it did.
We wouldn't notice it because it would be their two coverage unless we
Oh, I
decided
see.
to do it on like their second take, and then I didn't catch it. But
Yeah.
what a fun game!
That's even better.
What a
So,
hilarious game.
Because my brother's doing that boring puzzle stuff, I come and talk to you.
Yeah?
Yeah, because you can't talk back. I just
I'm waiting
keep
for the
going,
big moment that
talking,
everyone's
because
waiting
I'm
for
broken
in this
Bible, I'm
episode.
bragging. You should have
Oh
seen
yeah, I
this
like this
castle.
conceit too. That like
40
Jordan
feet
is sort of
tall
almost
she
trying to
was.
rehabilitate
She
Nine
was
Yeah.
Roses, right? That
And she
like
had
bring her
nine
back
hands
into the
breathing
adventure,
acid
but doing it in a
and
very
fire
Jordan
Yeah.
way. It's like ostensibly about his
Yeah,
character.
annoying her into like role playing back, kind of.
Into role playing back, yeah.
That's
Which I
perfect
think
for
is fun.
Thorvar. He'll just keep talking. Reminds
cute.
me of the time when I was a wee
Ruin you out.
Yeah, Jordan. Yeah, Steven talked about this idea that like Jordan maybe had. Did we talk about this last time? That Jordan maybe had like a little crush on
Yeah.
Vanessa.
A 9.
Yeah, Oh, because we talked about the sausage.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. A little bit of sausage. Here it comes. This is what I was referring to.
That you just rolled, that's a D12.
There it is.
Using a D20.
Yeah, how many players, how many viewers like audibly
Yeah.
sighed in relief, right?
That's
with
like the
that?
final, like
Uh-huh.
that's the keystone to making everything then run smoothly.
Well,
Is finally.
Exactly, right? The minute that they resolve their personal problems, that gets caught, right? So it's this weird running metaphor for like,
Steven's reaction.
Had one.
dude,
So sad for him.
I think he's been personally betrayed.
But all of the
Oh,
takes of Paul
dude.
trying to find this dice are just so. Don't worry, someday I'll share them. They're
Yeah,
so
they're
funny,
like-
painfully.
They're so
funny.
long. Uh-huh.
Pete, I just found the right one.
You know, I why I
That's
couldn't
so
roll
good.
A 10?
And he's full of
Can I make that
shame.
check again?
Like he's full of it.
It's a 17. So,
Yeah, that's deeply a Paul thing to do. Is to like put it on his forehead, like, "Hey, mind if
And
I-"
nod heartily.
Oh, he's so good. What a good boy. My posture's changed again. Now I'm like a little bit more engaged. My shirt's a little bit more unzipped. I'm relaxing. I'm excited. I'm more expressive. My gestures.
Gestures.
Hippo, ibis,
The
jackal,
gestures. Yeah, you gotta get some good gestures in there.
and,
You know how it is.
No.
What happens when you turn the
You know
crank?
how it is.
At first,
Don't
when
worry,
you
guys.
turn
That light's
them,
on again.
You hear nothing but a faint rumble.
Oh, it went on?
It's on in their two shot,
Store back
but not in his single.
Oh my, how did this happen?
Looks up.
That's so funny.
You can't really notice it. It's still a shadow, but
Oh no, I don't
Still.
notice it at all.
if you look at
When you turn the left-hand crank, it rotates.
If you look,
outer
and now they know if you hadn't said anything.
When you turn the middle crank, it rotates.
It looks like I'm flicking him off in that.
When you turn the
Maybe you
right-hand
are.
crank,
Looks
it
like I'm going
rotates
like-
the middle ring of the circle. Does that make sense?
And does that seem to do
Yeah, I think
anything?
Not immediately, no.
I think this was Hallie's idea, my fiance's idea, that it was like a
meditating.
celestial thing, that they were constellations. I think she also had the idea for the previous
As
season's
you do
riddle
this, you
too.
feel your physical.
As I talked to her
Well,
about
she's
it.
a
I was like,
smarty.
I figured out this dumb riddle. She is a smarty. She's a smarty and a cutie. But I don't know why I'm all about cuties today. But I think at least we talked about this in the first season. In the first season, it's like blank riddle, right? And then like guess. I don't think we had too many of those here in season 2. Most of the names were filled in.
You can feel tremendous anger.
Yeah, I can't remember if there were any, but everyone loved that season 1. There was Fortress. We had Yalkastad, so it was Fortress. Yeah.
Contaminated the very earth this place was constructed upon. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Just committing to
I
his
think
bit.
so.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, right. He's like still miming. I forgot about that. Yeah, that's funny. And this is kind of Alan attempting to do the same thing, but also to set up both Atham-Hotep and the Sandfolk that we're about to meet in the next episode. Episode.
You can sense between the grains another
shit.
presence, also seeking.
Oh, shit.
Another pilgrim, you think, like you.
Yeah, the second half of this episode's a little strange, I feel like. I think it works, but I feel like it's a kind of a grab bag of different ideas. It doesn't have like a coherent or cohesive like
You send out
through
a
line.
team
Oh, look at that.
there
Look
and
at that
this
beautiful
way,
slash
poke
one. I like that a lot.
At first, there's no response.
I'm doing a lot of this.
You get
A
one
lot of
word
tendrilies. You're just, what is that?
Yeah.
Like you're,
Kamehameha. Yeah, like Dragon Ball Z. Yeah.
Guys,
harhad.
Yeah, Megan. Harhad. Oh, this is Anshani, right? Is the bout. Anshani. We're getting there next episode. We're going to talk about Anshani. Like Harhad was always like praise be, right? Like Harhad.
I figured it out.
Harhad.
It's
Here
a
we go.
calendar.
Paul's so good. What a good one.
What a cutie.
What a cutie. A cutie patootie. Yeah, great. That's episode 7. Everything's better. Everything's fixed.
And now it's just 5
Yeah,
straight
that was-
episodes of just split screens, babe.
Of just endless amounts of split screens. Great. So those of you who have had big conflicts at your tables, how did you resolve them? Did you resolve them? Did you not resolve them? If so, tell us how, because I have a big conflict at my table. I need your advice. Help.
And I just like living vicariously through other people's drama.
Yeah, that sounds like Kate. Great. So comment below if you have just written a comment about your drama, then go add a reply to that comment and explain how you fixed it, or if you did
Follow
fix
it
it at
up.
all. Follow it up. We're gonna follow that episode up with episode 8, the last episode for today's commentary.
Yes.
Have you had a good time so far, Kate?
Yes.
Yes, me too.
Good.
I'm glad we did this.
I'm gonna play the episode now.
I'm glad we're all here together at the end of all things.
Wait.
what is it?
Hold on, there's 4 more episodes.
Figured it out. The puzzle.
Yeah,
the door
it's a
puzzle? I
calendar.
figured it out. It's a
A
calendar.
puzzly.
Oh.
My dumb face.
calendar?
Overacting in this
Nah, you're
episode.
just happy and excited and proud of these
You said that there's
cuties.
stars painted on the ceiling, right?
Oh, these cuties. Look at it. Look at a bunch of them. All sitting.
And we turn the
We're
page,
together.
it turns the ceiling.
Which
Uh-huh,
moves the
Power Rangers time.
stars.
We're gonna assemble Megazord in a second here.
Yeah.
We still kind of have some base colors, I feel like.
They're
You
like
know,
Yeah.
we got like a blue
like
from
signs of the zodiac or something. Maybe they're
Sam, a
constellations.
green from Bashar,
Okay,
and a red
but
from...
I don't-
Like, I think
How
of
does
Jordan
that
is
open the
all
doors?
dressed in
Well,
grays,
I'm
but
not
I think
certain,
of
but
his
I
colors being yellow
suspect
because he's got that
that
koozie, right?
set
Sure.
Koozie. Like, I think of that as
stars
being
to,
the...
like a
Did I say
particular day or
koozie?
something.
Oh,
Then all
no.
we need to do is record those animals, and then those 3 will.
He's got the
open
little
doors.
beer cozy, and I think of it as
The
being
main
yellow.
door is like coded to a particular.
I like the big bold primary colors, right? Like we did it for
That I don't know.
for season 2.
I don't know if there's a day in this.
Never
world
again,
that,
though.
Like, makes sense.
That's the last time.
History check.
Everyone's just wearing like a monochromatic gray
It's just
jumpsuit. It's
future.
like set in the year 4000, yeah, and all fashion has been eradicated.
7 minus 6.
Might die
But it's the
this
same
time.
characters,
Yeah, yeah.
inexplicably.
With your
There's also a
family,
door
Great,
that
Jackie,
stops
for us.
people.
can recall a number of holidays that were supposedly celebrated by the ancient calendar.
There's also a door that stops
Here,
people.
the
you
Blood
said.
Festival, Procession of Tanuki. The real question
So this is them
whether you
figuring
can
it out
call
and
the
testing stuff.
stars
There's a
in the
lot of
sky
annoying
on the
memorization for this bit
Sounds like
because I had to memorize
I
all
would
the
take
names of the
intelligence nature.
animals in
I would
order,
also
and then I
take
had to
wisdom
memorize
survival.
the different
survival it is.
animals that
Yeah.
correspond to the
That's a
different
skill I got.
holidays, and they start making these
And that's a
rolls.
21.
More than
That's
that.
me
Yeah,
shooting
working
myself in the
together,
foot.
the two of
I don't
you
know
can
And your
why.
cheat sheet, so you couldn't really have them
that.
because it's not like you're looking down to reference anything. Alan would just know this.
Dorbeck, if you
Right.
want
She
to
just
turn
is like
Uh-huh.
be
Yeah.
fed it a little bit to be like these three. Okay, I got it. What?
Right.
What's the I've already
Mhm.
doing all this.
There's a throwaway reference in here if anybody is like an Egyptian mythology nerd. The festival of Tanuti. Tanuti is another name for Anubis. Because I feel like he wanted to basically use the same gods, but didn't want to just call them the names of the gods. So Tanuti is like a weird. I think it's like the Greek version. I don't know. It's some version of Anubis.
Fantasy Egypt.
So any of you who are like, yeah, Fantasy Egypt. Any of you who are like
I mean,
big,
there's
Egypt
always a sarcophagus.
mythology nerds.
Mummies, though.
I also made a point to do the like pretentious correct pronunciation of the god of knowledge in the earlier episode. A lot of people say Thoth, but I guess it's technically Tot because you don't pronounce H's in Egyptian, ancient Egyptian. So I want to make sure Alan was like as pretentious as possible about
Yeah.
Tot. There's the hamburger. Look at that big
Look at
hamburger
it in
proof. You can see
there.
it. Oh
Why don't
boy,
people talk about it more?
that's a good point.
When you do,
I want to see at least one comment below about
Give
the
that hamburger
proof.
some love. Like, comment, subscribe.
paths.
Yeah,
Hashtag hamburger love.
desecrate that hamburger proof.
However,
Uh,
the
yeah,
body of
man.
the wayfinder.
Can we talk about the really stale ass popcorn in the bowl in the middle of the
Yeah, we had to
the
keep
table?
topping it up. And
Does-
Steven kept trying to find a good
does
time to
Jordan-
just like handful
Are there
it.
signs of
And he
where
did it
she
once,
might
and I was just
have
like,
gone,
no.
or where she might have-
Yeah, there's a bloopy. I'm pretty sure is like no.
That's how I direct. Just screaming.
Yeah,
things.
I think we posted that one. I think we posted the blobcorn. The blobcorn poopy is what I almost said.
Beneath your feet, Nine Roads, you sense
I did it. Victory.
Yeah.
Blobcorn is 1000% like a Rick and Morty thing
Blobcorn.
they buy on some alien planet. They get
perfectly
blobcorn.
into the sandstone.
A blobcorn poopy.
Come three figures.
Anyway,
I
next
like
speed.
it a lot.
Toe,
Yeah,
sand-colored
experience
wrappings.
points.
They grip curved.
Look how
chocolate
excited Elise's face
in their
is.
clawed hands, and they fan out to meet you.
Are these the same guys that?
They do appear so, yes. The lead sand folk appears to have some sort of a sigil painted on the front of their wrappings. You recognize a stylized.
It's funny because I
scarab,
can't really hear very
same
well, so I keep
symbol,
seeing
you've seen etched on both
these weird.
sides.
Oh, the scarab. This is scarab. I saw a gesture where I like went down like this towards my privates. I'm like, what am I talking about? Towards my swimsuit area.
Walk
Uh,
forward, their hands on the other side,
you heard me.
and bow eight.
Oh, this is the these are the Anshani. Yeah, see there it is.
After a
Anshani.
moment, he does. In Sans
Yeah, I try to do the claws of my gestures, right? That they're like they have their four
Your
claws.
wanderings have brought you here through no fault of your own.
Somebody compared the accent to like a Ricardo Montalban, like a Spanish thing,
Char
which I guess is kind of true.
who they are.
I'm trying, like, this is something I've been trying to do with my D&D lately anyway, it's not a small side tangent, is I'm kind of sick of, like, regionalized accents, like, all the dwarves are Scottish, and all the halflings are Irish, like, I'm trying to just come up with, like, more original accents, quote-unquote, but, like, ways of speaking to German different people, and I wanted to kind of do it here, but I'm worried that, yeah, it did just kind of come across as sounding vaguely Mediterranean. Which I guess isn't terrible if it's Egypt, but, like, I just specifically didn't want, like, the Anshani are Middle Eastern sounding, or, you know, Spanish, or Italian.
And it's hard with
or-
accents too because you don't want to seem like you're like weirdly mocking someone when you're not. You're
Yeah,
just,
absolutely.
you just
right.
that's your like attempt at engaging.
You would recognize that.
And it's
word.
like a racial thing on some level too. That like I'm a white guy, so like I could do a really bad Scottish accent and no one's gonna be like that's offensive. But you know, if I try to do an accent from over half the world, like it's not really appropriate for me to
Yeah.
do that. Especially if it's bad or like not respectful. So that's kind of why I'm trying to like break out and say like let's just make up a different voice. That way there's no chance of
Wow,
it.
really? You want to kill him?
But I like this scene. This is one of the few like characters in character talking to an NPC like role playing scenes that are in the
came
entire
here to
season.
Yeah, it's true.
defile this place.
It's all just fighty.
She led her caravan here.
It's
to
lots of
see it
fighting and
excavated,
exploring.
and
And it's a
secrets
lot of the
exposed.
drama, whereas in the
She was
first
not
season it's a lot of
the
drama
person
about the
that you
characters bouncing off of the world
See,
and
as
bouncing
he
off
speaks,
of the
he
like
produces
the
something.
player characters bouncing off of NPCs. Here it's a lot more about the player characters bouncing off of each other and how they interact. So there isn't as much reason to like interface with the society of the
Yeah.
world essentially. This is like your one opportunity at it.
You see the way he holds the hand, it just displays a particular
It was also like I wanted to have a similar situation where, of course, Jordan leaps into combat right away, but I didn't want to just parody. Ooh, I like that.
I like
symbol.
Megan's
Didn't
face.
want to just.
That is.
There.
Oh
That's
yeah,
one of my
her-
favorites.
That is not a
on
happy
Mimicking it.
symbol.
Sorry.
sheep.
That isn't.
And all
Oh, that's
the
I suppose. Yeah, she's doing like a like
Yeah.
tusks. That is not a happy symbol.
This place
Um,
upon the palmlands and
where I want Jordan to start a combat, but I don't want it to just be a repeat of Lady Celeste from season 1.
Mhm.
And so I had to kind of create this dichotomy where like there really wasn't another choice. Like it felt like he was rushing into it, but at the same time, if you think about it, like they were gonna
I mean, we
kidnap
didn't
us or whatever.
really
It's like
know
what other
her,
choice?
right?
We were gonna fight
She was our
anyway.
guide, sure,
Um,
but
and then it ends up being like
really
probably the
said
most
anything.
fun they have as a party, at least thus
Mhm.
far, right? This big kind of
Whatever.
epic combat.
Yeah.
never tried to kill us, so they did.
Bashara will ask. May we go in peace?
Oh yeah, I love her read here. Can we go?
Annoyed.
She knows. She knows the answer. She's like, they're not gonna let us leave. Ah, of course.
with poison.
Great.
See? But neither shall you come to harm. Remain here
Yeah.
with us, you shall, and in time you may even learn to take our oath and become one of the Anshan.
And Sean.
The Anshan.
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 Fuck that. Thorvar charges him.
wait,
Wow,
dude.
okay. Thorvar goes
I like
crazy
this moment
across
too
the
because I
estate.
think that this is one of those great like.
Could you possibly roll
I hope the audience forgets about the trap
Yeah.
too, right? That like you set it up, you have a whole episode about this trap, but enough has happened since then. By the time you come back to it, I hope that it's a good reveal because I felt like it wasn't when I was writing it. And that's I think what the intention is that this trap is meant to be here for this fight. He had planned on having a little ambush.
Oh, when I
yeah,
attack
right,
him in
of
the
course.
face.
What? And we're gonna
Well,
let
we're
us
rolling
in.
it.
And I'm not gonna join some weird cult.
We could have talked our way out.
I don't
Ah,
really
sorry,
see how.
he's such a silly man.
Feels wrong to just attack him though.
But it kind of explains why the trap is like
It's
weirdly
okay.
not very effective
It's only
on its own.
9.
It just paralyzes you, doesn't deal any
Mine's an
damage.
8.
Just because it's the centerpiece of this encounter
Okay.
more than it is
Initiative
anything
goes
else.
as
But.
Oh shit.
Oh!
That was a close one. Quite nearly unleashed all my secrets.
Oh no.
I
You
bet
at least
it's
all
like
the secrets.
Pandora's box, right?
Pandora's DM screen.
Of course. Precisely. Okay. Bashar.
Yeah, these two episodes, the
in
7 and
place
8,
of
which we'll start with
Loudshade.
next week.
Bashara will cast
Oh, I
a
like that
spell.
Oh yeah, like they decide that.
I have entangle.
Because
Yeah,
of-
because that
Did I
was
use
actually
the sand to
a
entangle them
mistake
instead
I
of
had
just like the
had
spell
made while
describes?
writing. When I wrote it, I thought the druids
Yeah,
only had
actually,
2
that's
wild
pretty
shapes
rad.
per day, not per
Saving
rest. And so we
throws,
realized she would have had another wild shape. Why doesn't she
Strength
wild shape in this
DC.
fight?
Shapes
so
that way you
we
don't
talked to
have to
them about it, and I think it was Lisa had the
Actually,
idea that what if she
I don't think
decides
Bashar
not
cares.
to not try to stay
Yeah,
with
and
them.
kind
He's
of like
coming after that
do a
giant
nod
hyena
to
situation.
Vanessa to be like,
Saving throw
hey,
for
this
Var.
is me trying. I could do this thing and I'm not
Correct,
gonna.
uh-huh.
Like,
Right, yeah, exactly. It's more important that we all have
That's
fun
12
than it
plus
is that I
5,
am the most
17.
powerful person. in the
or that
room.
I solved the
Describe your
problem
spell.
I think
alone.
Bashara
Exactly.
shifts her foot a little, and
Which I
then,
think is a good solution to my
Bender,
my goof up.
The sand reaches.
There's
up
always
and
one
Yeah, yeah.
every
entangles
season
anyone who failed their throw.
where I'm like, oh crap,
Thorvar,
I
the
misunderstood how the
sand
rules
moves
work.
around
And like, it's fine.
easily.
I'm not too worried
Yeah.
about it, but if we can find a
The
solution,
leader failed,
I'm always happy to
Yeah.
do it.
and you both succeed.
I like these really thin split screens. I think
you
those are
also
cool. I
see
like it when it
that
gets
the
it's very
sand
animated,
Yeah.
with a super thin stripe. I think it's great.
I
think
do
we
a
should
lot of
more
anime
it.
research actually before I start
That's
editing.
great.
So I'm, like,
I'm so
cool,
happy
what
to
are some
hear that.
panels?
Move or bonus action.
Yeah, I
Oh
love
no,
that.
I don't want to get entangled in that.
I like that it looks like my
To the
shoulder is the couch
Anshani.
cushion.
The leader will attempt to extricate
When I like
himself
lean
from
over,
the
it's like
entangling sand.
transform polymorphing into a couch.
He turns to you, Nine Roads, and makes a plea.
That's my
He's
one of my
the
dice.
lead
The
of
orange
this
one is my
fight.
actual real life lucky D20.
Despite that,
I roll.
the other two will
That's my
swing
primary
their
D20 whenever
chakrams
I
and
play,
lash
even with
out
other
at
sets,
you,
'cause it's
Thorvar.
just served me well in the past.
And 15.
Oh, 15 will get me.
Crappy
Yeah, I love Jordan's energy in this scene. He's so
Two of those
like
writhing
just
forms
rambunctious
that
and
you saw.
finally getting the combat that he wanted. Like multiple bad guys, and no one's mad at him for attacking
Yeah.
people, right? Like he can just finally, and he's like adding
Yeah.
sound effects where he's not involved. Like
Yeah.
he's just so excited. This is all he wanted to do today was kill guys.
And it was like for Steven too, he was slowly building that drunk, you know, so like he has to
That
like
sort
kind of
happy
like
drunk,
keep it
yeah.
Well,
You feel
even, but like over the course of a week to be like, what? Where are we at now? You're 3 beers.
Yeah, exactly how drunk am I?
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So it's like
But also then play it in the context of the scene. So if he's drunk and it's awkward, what does that mean?
Yeah.
If he's drunk and they're excited, what does that mean?
vision
Yeah.
starts to
Dude,
move.
you're a dwarf. You have advantage.
Yeah.
Suppose you
Here you
would,
go.
yes.
This is dwarfness.
Roll again and see if you get better than 7.
this is for sure the bad.
Right. There were like never
That's
enough of
much
those
better
jokes.
than
I always
16.
wanted to, every time he
In that
rolled the die, I
case,
wanted to like call back to like,
Your
and
vision
we're
does
100%
blur a
clear.
little bit, and
The
you feel
dice.
very wobbled,
Sure.
but manage to keep your feet.
Very sure.
You are
Yeah.
poisoned for 1 minute, which is disadvantage on attacks and it's saves or ability checks.
Ability checks.
Valuing her.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's a good point. This is when you start to realize that Kelsey's
I don't feel so
rules knowledge can be an asset
All right,
rather
then
than
we are on
an adversary.
My turn.
I like that a
All
lot.
yours, Thorvar.
A reckless attack.
I like this too. This is the reckless attack,
yeah.
right?
A rage.
Cool.
He's
He
like,
is technically
yeah,
restrained
you don't
by
need
the
to,
sand
like,
already, so you don't need
You have
to use
advantage,
reckless
like you
attack.
don't care doing it.
Do you?
All right.
God.
Oh, what a great split screen. That's so good.
And
Yeah, a lot of these are some of Steven's real goofy
Yeah.
mannerisms, like the smooching the dice before he rolls them. He does that for real when he plays.
Vicious wound. Your axe carves into his flesh and
Is your
embeds
cat
against one of
pestering
his
you?
Oh, it just scared the crap out of me.
I assume you don't
Sometimes
want
wants
to
to
move.
sit.
You're on to 9 roads.
Is your cat? Everybody say hi
Nine
to
roads
Kate's cat.
stand
Star
for a moment,
Fox,
their
here he
eyes
is.
Closed. Then eyes still closed. They walk.
We're gonna get a dozen comments about Star Fox
toward
and no
one of the
comments
sand
about
folks
the
who popped out of
episode.
the ground.
See?
I feel confident.
You meet
What a
Raja
catch.
Bashara's
Sit down.
Tango, which is
Yeah,
difficult
I've
terrain.
got
You can't just
45
be
movement.
here.
Could I roll like an acrobatics check to not
Jingle
be injured by
jangle.
that?
Please do.
Yeah, so I think this is the big
16
turn to end all
plus
turns.
five.
Right?
Oh yeah, when she like
21.
badasses her way into murdering Vil.
9 roads. Calm to the edge of the
This is the only exit off to Murderingville, not Murderville.
Next exit 50 miles. So exit here
Yeah,
or hold it.
fly
Murdering.
towards the
Yeah,
statue.
exactly.
tiger shit.
I would hold it. I don't
and
think I
then
would
they
go to
can spin
Murderingville.
the
I don't know.
arms of one of the
I'd be like, maybe it's a trick.
statues,
Maybe it's actually
and then
lovely there.
Swings across the room.
That's
Oh,
true.
the
It's
sand,
like a
like,
PR
reaching up to
campaign.
try
Let's
to
talk
grab
about
you.
the show.
Yeah.
But the conceit here is that like everyone is helping, everyone is assisting and describing her cool move and like supporting Vanessa rather than trying to sort of take her down. Not that anyone was doing that before, but like now the party's concern isn't doing the best thing or being the most efficient. It's about making sure everyone is having a good time.
Learning how to play together and stuff. And they all have
Exactly.
really good energy, like consistently throughout the episode, which I think is really fun.
I think so too.
Like it carries on. It doesn't like dip
Your attacks.
between like takes or coverage. Everyone did a really good job.
Plus something and
Yeah, well, gee whiz. There's that crit. Yeah.
Lucky fucker.
He like shoves her like a little too hard. Like, maybe so.
Total
Whoa.
okay, that
Whoa,
is
buddy. He's so enthusiastic.
plus 1 plus 4 plus my modifiers is 15 damage.
So you may notice on Vanessa's character sheet, she has an ability called Wastelander. That's because she is a sand folk.
Okay,
And it's just a
so
homebrew
you
race
said
that
I
you could
wanted
go
to
onto the
talk him
DM
with
guild
hands
right
around
now,
his neck,
and you could
kicking
purchase.
him
It's
in the
pay what you
stomach.
want. It might be
I
$2
kick
right
and I
now.
kick
It's
and
$2
kick
for
and
Secrets of the
kick
Sand
out
Folk.
the other
You can
side.
get the race. You get a monk class. Not she doesn't have it because she's not high enough level, but she would have presumably. You get a new weapon, and you get some monsters you can use in your campaign. It's good for everybody. A shameless plug over. Secrets of the Sand
Shameless
Folk,
plug.
Dungeon Master's Guild. Go check it out. Over.
She kicked him apart in the meantime.
She did kick him apart.
kicked him
I don't
apart.
think Steven really wanted to do the
I
reference, so
know,
he didn't
it's
really read it in
fine.
that way.
It's only a
But
13.
yeah, it wasn't intended to be a reference in the sense of like the character is not acknowledging it. I think the point was that they're acknowledging the George Washington video,
Yeah.
right? But they did not really end up doing that, and that's fine.
It's fine.
That's my little gymnastics at the Olympics reference, right? Like you land and you kind of like adjust. It's not perfect, but you land. Great. That's episode 7. What a good time everyone's having. We went from kind of a bad place, but then we got out of it, and now we're back in a good place.
Yeah.
And everyone's gonna have fun. Awesome. Thanks so much for watching, folks. I'm trying to think of a good question to end on for them to think about in the comments. What kind of question do you want to ask, Kate?
Do you guys remember like what was it like when you first start playing with a party and you're still figuring out how to play together? And was there a defining moment that you came to where you realized like this is how we all work together? Because I feel like there's
That's a
always
great
like one
question.
combat where you're like, oh.
Mm-hmm. Or like a joke that kind of like everything hangs on this idea or this joke, right? Like this one of the characters starts doing this thing and that becomes their thing, and that, by doing that opens up everyone else.
Yeah.
Like, how did your party gel for the first
Yeah.
time? You know, I like that. That's a great question. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll be back next week with the last 4 episodes. We hope you enjoy watching these commentaries as much as we enjoy making these commentaries.
Yeah.
Gee whiz. Awesome. See you next week, folks. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.
Bye.